Ensign Castro served on the Enterprise for like a minute. Ensign Boimler is taking General Corrin down to Tolgana 4, and Rutherford's EPS conduits are aligned as hell. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the 7th Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello.
And we are joined by very special guest, Miss Malissa Longo.
Hello.
Oh, I need to top that. Hello, my name is Ryan T. Husk. Hi. And today we are reviewing Lower Decks Episode 2 called Envoys. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Doing good. I thought it was Envoys, but you know, potato.
Malissa, tiebreaker?
I would say Envoy, probably.
I've heard both, but I think I hear Envoy more, so we'll go with that.
Both.
All right.
I'm already starting with the win. Okay, Cirroc, if you know everything so much, then what was the shape-shifting alien that was an Andorian and then a little boy, Cirroc Lofton?
That was a Anobaj.
No, that was another one, but that was good knowledge there.
Oh, that's all I had to say.
That was something called a Vendorian, and our friend Mr. Don Crandall in the Lower Decks group reminds us that's from the animated series episode called The Survivor.
Ooh.
Also, shout out to two other people in the Lower Decks group. By the way, Star Trek Lower Decks group on Facebook. Check that out. That's where everybody does the discussions. They both pointed out, George Magnum and Alec Quach pointed out that Rutherford, Ensign Rutherford, is quite possibly the first Starfleet officer to wear all 3 uniform colors in a single episode.
Wow.
Nice trivia there. All right, that's all I got. Take it away, Malissa.
Sure. Sure. Go ahead. No.
Well, what about your action figure? Your Patrick Stewart action figure that you have.
Yeah, special thanks
Yeah.
to Casey Shapsky for sending the Captain Picard in Tapestry. Stop it, Q! I don't want to play your game anymore! He says something like that.
So he wears 2 outfits in the show.
Actually, well, yeah, in that episode, he also wears a 3rd cadet uniform in Tapestry.
Okay.
Anyway.
Any other characters that we know that have switched?
Worf changes over from, first red and then gold and then back on Deep Space Nine into red. Data goes from gold to red. He's in red in what was the one? Gambit parts 1 and 2, which had that really cool episode where Worf is like being all fussy to Data. He's like, Captain Picard would have done it. Or no, he says, finally. And then Data takes him and reprimands him. And then Data says, I'm sorry if I have ended our friendship. And then Worf says the cutest line ever where he's like, no, it is I that have whatever the fuck he says. And he's like, and I would appreciate it if you would overlook this. And Data's like, as would I. And we're just like, oh my God, this is the sweetest thing I've ever, it was the sweetest. Anyway, let's talk about Lower Deck. Yeah, it was great. I loved it.
So who's this Ensign Castro that served on the Enterprise? Any follow-up on that?
That is a non-appearance mention as far as I know.
Okay.
But that is a great question. I hope the people in the comments below can tell us if Castro was mentioned or was in one episode of The Next Generation. Because I don't remember a Castro, but it's a common enough last name for it to be somebody. Malissa, do you know?
No. I don't.
So what do you think of the episode, Cirroc?
Well, I'm still letting it grow on me. Because we're dealing with a whole different kind of Star Trek here, in the realm of comedy and then also the realm of animation. So I'm processing that when I'm watching it. So it's a little bit difficult for me to put myself in the mindset of, okay, this is just relax, unwind. This is not serious. This is just for jokes. So
you can't really relax too much on this because it moves so quickly, though, right?
Right.
That's the one thing that does stand out to me is the pace. I mean, it literally is a quick-witted, quick pace. There's a lot of dialogue in there. So, and sometimes it goes by so fast that it loses me because I don't get the references or I don't get the jokes. You know, oh yeah, that's like an Andolian. And you know, I'm like, all right, what's going on here? So the dialogue and the quickness of the pace, the tempo is actually harder for the people that don't have all the background knowledge.
Yeah. Melissa, how do you feel about the references whizzing by? Do you pause and try to catch all of them, or you just go like, the internet will tell me what I missed?
No, it depends on how much time I have, because it is very fast paced. So it is difficult to catch all of the references, and to do that you would have to sit and rewind and rewind and rewind. But it's fun. The references that I do catch, they are fun to get. Yeah, both episode 1 and 2 are full, jam-packed of energy. And it's like zoom. So
yeah. Especially the lead of this show, the lead character. Yeah. She's just like just a ball of energy. Like, oh, let me tell you, babe, I already know that. This, don't do that. Do that. Put that down. Don't you know what that is? And she's just like, she's driving the tempo of the show. So a lot of it revolves around her, which I think she's very good at her voiceover work and her delivery of the lines, because it is not easy to talk so familiarly with about these subjects and deliver it with that kind of speed. Certainly a lot easier when you're reading it and you're not being filmed, because you don't have to really memorize it. But it's still difficult nonetheless. So I want to give a credit to these voiceover actors and actresses that are killing it.
Right. Well, she actually she got her start reading disclaimers on drug commercials. So
really?
may cause diarrhea, vomiting, and long nails. But did somebody mention balls of light? Or no, you said ball of energy. Because at the beginning there was a ball of energy that was floating around, and there was that funny scene where she said, oh, I want one of those fancy new tricorders with the purple stripe. And actually the person that did the voiceover for that ball of energy was really funny in their delivery. He said, oh, that would take up a lot of whatever. But it was our first glimpse into this ball of energy that does not continue on in this episode. So that was the serialized thing. Like in the first episode, the serialized aspect was finding out that Mariner is actually the daughter of the captain and an admiral. And that's, we'll find out more later. And the serialized aspect in this episode was that there was a ball of energy that goes into the captain and nothing. So we're starting to see that maybe that's a trend to where in every episode they're going to have one aspect that doesn't get answered. That's just going to build up for later on in the season. And then by the end of the season, everything will be answered, theoretically, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know if the ball of energy is going to go anywhere. I don't know if they're going to carry it on in the show and maybe show some kind of way that thing affected the captain on the ship. But so I don't know if they're going to bring it. I do know that they're going to further explain the Mariner's parents and the relationship that they have. And I think that's an interesting dynamic. And I think that that brings a level of familiarity for me, because I want to see the storylines about family and interactions of that I can relate to from the audience perspective, because a lot of the stuff is difficult for me to relate to, because they're all only dealing with these grand Star Trek themes that have carried on throughout the series. So yeah, I think it's going to be good once they get into talking about different stories and more of the interpersonal relationships and workings between each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I definitely think that the ball of energy will come back. I don't see them putting that in there. Otherwise, it would have just gone out the ship. You know what I mean? Like, if it was just a gag, but it went into the captain. And Star Trek has had in the past, you know, a ball of energy, you know, take over a character. I feel like it's happened like 3 or 4 times in separate series here and there. So which one of those things it is, I don't know, but it's probably going to be, you know, the same thing that happened in previous episodes. I can't remember which episodes did that specifically. I could take a guess, but I'd probably be wrong. Malissa, any ideas?
Not off the top of my head.
That's okay. We'll stay tuned.
Yeah.
We'll get those questions answered later.
Yeah.
But I did have something to say with the ball of energy bit that they had. The time when she's trying to put that ball of energy into the bucket reminded me of Odo going into his bucket. So, I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah.
Bucket.
Yeah, and the voice of the energy was good. I don't know who plays the voice, but his sarcasm was pretty amazing, and just the way he delivered those lines, I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, IMDb is not current with the voice actors. It just has the 4 main character actors, but it doesn't have any of the other voiceovers. So we'll find out shortly. Last week, it kind of refreshed like a day or 2 after the episode came out. So it'll probably be by this weekend. We'll know.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the episode overall? Was it fun? Was it enjoyable? Was it fast paced? Was there anything that really stood out to you?
I laughed. I did. I only watched it once, so I know I missed a bunch of stuff, but there were a couple of parts when Mariner, is that her name?
Yeah.
Was drinking with the Klingon, and they said something. Well, they were on the ship, and I was just like, that's hilarious. But so it's made me laugh, which is great. And I do miss a lot of stuff because it's so fast paced. But even though it is fast paced, I do like how they are building relationship between the characters, which is really nice to see, because that's what I get invested in, is relationship between characters and how they interact with each other, and that's starting to develop, I think, with almost all of the characters.
Yeah, I'm finding myself wishing that we got more character development and depth from the other characters, like the other 4 kind of senior officers. But number 1, it's not about them. And number 2, it's a 22 or 25 or 30-minute episode, and it's only episode 2, so we just got to be patient. But like, you know, you see the burly Bajorn guy, and you want to know more about him, and he gets 2 or 3 lines, and awesome. That's it, you know?
Yeah.
But that's what you're going to get in a 30-minute show, you know? You just got to kind of judge it on a season. I think 10 episodes in, once those are over, then we can look back, and the characters will be fleshed out, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I liked him. Yeah, very much. I don't know why, but he was fun.
Yeah, no, I like him a lot too. One line I really liked was from Commander Ransom, and he was a character that I expected I was going to like, voiced by Jerry O'Connell, because he's kind of like the Captain Kirk or the Commander Riker mold of like, hey, I'm the ladies' man, and he rips his shirt off and stuff. He kind of had an idea that it was going to be a fun character, but we haven't seen much of him yet. But in this second episode, we did see something that was fun. And I thought maybe the best written line, you know, after he says, how do I get 105% casualties? But the funny line was the commander says, let's try another one on a ship with even more children. Like he's excited about the thought of children death. I don't know why. That was just funny to me, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. The little simulation that they were putting him through, and how he was making the wrong call. They said, "Are you going to try the Janeway protocol?"
Right.
Yeah.
So she got a non-appearance mentioned in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many little jokes in there. I didn't write them all down, but they are pleasant and they're funny. One particular one was when Boimler was doing the speed walking.
Oh my gosh.
Killing me. And his butt was going.
Yeah. And his hands were close to his chest, and he was kind of trying to walk fast.
Great.
And just the animation of that was hilarious, because you see that in the street. You see people speed walking, and you're like, bro, you're not even going faster than me. I think she said that to him.
Yeah. She's like, what are you doing? We're walking the same pace, dude.
Yeah.
And what did he say? He said, he said Section 31 does this.
Yeah. So you can just imagine a bunch of Section 31 people like, come on, let's go get him.
His hips are moving.
Yeah, his hips were moving.
So funny.
And I thought that was funny. Also him showing up like dressed for like with the, the long robed, like
the dress uniform. Yeah.
The dress uniform, the more formal, Starfleet uniform.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, those kinds of things were like slid in there, and I thought they're hilarious. Also, want to say that the opening scene that they have as their for their credits. Now that I've seen it again for the second time, I really appreciate the animation and the music in their opening credits. I thought they really hit a home run with that. It matches the flavor of the show. And the graphics and the music really kind of enhance what we're about to see. So I like the way they pulled that off.
Yeah, I love it too. I really, the music is reminiscent of 80s and 90s Star Trek. And also, as I said before when we weren't recording, and very few people will get this reference, but those that do will agree, the theme song sounds a lot like Soaring Over California ride at Disneyland. Actually, at California Adventure in the Disneyland theme park. So those of you that know that one, it sounds like it. Come on, back me up on this.
Somebody, please.
But the art's awesome on that. I really like it a lot. Yeah.
And I think you pointed this out before, but it did stand out again to me. The exterior shots of the ship are different,
totally
looking than the characters themselves and when they're inside the ship. So
it seems like it's a completely different company that's doing it, right? It's a totally different artistic style. Like this is one style, and then when you see the exterior shots, especially of the ship, it's a completely different animation style, it seems like, or art style.
Yeah, and I kind of want the animation of the ship's style more than I like this Family Guy kind of, looking style that's of the characters. So I actually wish that they did more of that on the interior shots as well. But, you get what you get. And I guess the most important part is the script writing and the dialogue and the character building, like Melissa was talking about, with the relationships between characters.
Melissa, what do you think about the art? You seem to frown a little bit when Cirroc was saying Family Guy art.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't get Family Guy from this, but I haven't watched a lot of Family Guy, so but it's the art isn't distracting to me at all, and yeah, I think it's great. It's simple. It's not elaborate, which with the pace it can't be, because drawing it takes a long time. And I know they're doing this, on computers and what have you, but still, it takes a lot of work to put one still together. So with the pace. I think the art fits well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let's talk about the funniest moments since we were already kind of on that subject. Actually, we're going to take a break in a couple minutes. So before we get to the fun, oh man, what a tease. Stay tuned for the funniest moments of the episode. But before that, another quick piece of trivia. Did you guys notice the Lurian, which is what Morn is? There was a Lurian in that Andorian bar, or the bar with the Andorians on that planet. Did you notice that? I wasn't 100% sure it was a Lurian. I rewound it to check, and I'm like, I guess, but that's because the aliens are a little bit different in this show than what we remember them. They're kind of simplified, you know, like the detail is gone and they're just kind of approximated. But it sure looked like a Morn, a Lurian.
I saw that.
You did, okay. And now our associate producer, Anne-Marie, said that she actually saw a Lurian twice. That there was also one like in the town square or something like that. So apparently there were two, and I only caught the one. But I don't know. Did you catch that, Melissa?
No. Pass.
And it was quick.
Yeah.
No, I definitely caught it. I thought I said to myself, "Wow, that's." I don't know the name of the species, but I said, "Is that Morn?"
Yeah, that's a Morn.
That's a Morn over there.
That's a Morn.
Yeah.
I have to go watch it again because, as I said, I only watched it once and I didn't rewind.
Yeah,
I did. I had to rewind because I can't. Like, if I just watch like this, if I try to write anything down, then I've missed 10 things. You know, so I have to, and you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to take 3 hours to watch it, but I do want to try to catch, you know, the things that are out there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk about the humor of the show. And then Cirroc suggested that Melissa pick 3 characters that she hopes would die on the show. So.
Oh, okay. I remember that.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I did.
I did say that.
All right. We'll be right back on the 7th Rule. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the 7th Rule with Malissa Longo and Cirroc Lofton. My name is Husk. Do us a favor, please, guys. It's totally free. Hit subscribe. Hit the like button. Comment below. Hit the bell icon for notifications. It costs you nothing. And it makes our day, and we really appreciate it. So if you haven't already subscribed, please just click the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and you are then officially helping us to succeed in this crazy world.
Absolutely.
So anyway, let's talk about the jokes, because this show is going to be, I think, about really 3 things. One is going to be the storylines that kind of go throughout the season, the overarching storylines. The other one is going to be about the jokes, obviously. And the third one is going to be about the nonstop Star Trek references. But
Right.
because that's, you know, that's what we really look for as Star Trek nerds. Were there a couple parts that made you laugh the most, Cirroc?
You know, I thought it was funny. The B storyline was Rutherford's character kind of chasing his love and trying to be there for his woman or his eventual woman. But he wants to please her, and he wants to change his career so he can make time for her. And so he goes through this whole, like, trying out different things. And I thought that was funny because both the holodeck scene where he's in the training, and we mentioned the protocol with the kids and all the kids the first graders are dead. Now the kindergartners.
Pre-K.
And the pre-K. And I was like, geez, this is really bad. So that was funny. And then when he tried to be a doctor in this episode and he went into the medical profession, I thought it was hilarious when he was trying to comfort the guy, and the guy's, you know, he's dying, and he says, what are those, thorium burns? You should be dead already. Or something like that.
Yeah, he's like, how are you still alive?
How are you still alive? And I'm like, wow, this guy sucks at this. So I like that little that humor there. Also, Operation Smorgasbord. You know, like he was going to overload him with all these guys to fight. So I like that. Those little drops of humor I thought were hilarious.
I have a lot of things to nitpick and sometimes, but one of the things I kind of wrote in my notes was, how did Rutherford not know that his cyborg implants could make him fight? Like when they gave it to him, they didn't say, oh, it can do this, and can you, they're just like, oh no, we put this thing in, figure it out. You find out what it can do. You know, he's like, oh, I wonder if it can help me fight. Let me see. Oh, what do you know? Like, wouldn't he have known that? I don't know.
Maybe not. If he's got his head in science all the time, it probably didn't occur to him.
I did think it was a really good comedy rule to, you know, do what they don't expect, which is the engineer saying, what did you say? You know, and he's like, he says, you know, request approved. All right, we're so happy for you. And then the same thing with the security officer. He's like, that's what I thought you said. I'm so proud of you, or whatever. You know, he's like, oh, bears.
Yeah. I actually thought that was a little corny, and I thought they could have done that differently, but because I felt like everybody was
I loved it.
I actually would like the sense of the fear of what upper management would do, and I feel like that's being removed from the equation, which takes away from the humor a little bit. I feel like if the characters who we find are the lower deck characters, so they're the guys that get bossed around and have to do the menial jobs of, you know, escorting Klingons from planet to planet, I felt like the jokes work better when there's a person of authority there that you're scared of, and you kind of whispering jokes and doing it kind of on the sly a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the first time maybe, but the second time was like, okay, it was a little bit overplayed on that.
You know, sometimes the things that are the funniest for me are the throwaway lines that you really don't catch unless you like are fully paying attention or watch it a second time. Like one was when he was talking to the chief engineer guy, whose name I don't know, but I'm sure some people do. When he says, hey, can we talk for a second? And the chief engineer goes, you tease, only a second?
Yeah.
I'm like, these are great lines that in a normal Star Trek episode or something like that, we would get a good laugh at. But in a show like this that it moves so quickly, you don't even really catch it a lot of times. You know, like I didn't catch it at first. But then when you hear it afterwards, I'm like, that's a funny line. I wish they would hit it a little harder so we can, you know, really enjoy it. Is that the exact?
Yeah. You know, Mariner also had a funny couple of scenes. One in which I thought was funny when they got inside the little ship and she kept saying, blast shields on, blast shields up. And the blast shields kept coming up and down. And that's like what I would do. You know, if I was the first time on the ship, I'd probably firing photons and shit. They'd be like, hey, guy, calm down, man.
Like when you and Nog in that episode of the Dominion, he's like,
Yeah.
put up the shield, evasive maneuvers, phasers on lock.
Yeah, exactly.
Photon torpedoes.
Yeah, photon torpedoes, fire the photons. And there was also stupid humor in here that I thought, sometimes I'm a big fan of just like the dumb, stupid humor. And one of them was when Boimler was getting into a fight with that big alien thing. And Mariner's, and Mariner's idea to stop the fight was basically to pickpocket him and take his wallet. And his line was, my wallet, oh, dang. But of course in this alien language, but I thought that was kind of hilarious. Like, you know, any alien out there, if they lose their wallet, it's like a disarming thing. Like, where's my wallet?
Yeah, it's a bad day if you lose your wallet in any race.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Melissa, did you have a few funny parts that stood out to you? Was it the Anabaj, as Cirroc mentioned at the top of the show, that was going to implant eggs in his throat, or what was it?
Oh my gosh, I I forgot about that. That was kind of funny, and how she was cooling her down. I think that was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I know what you're thinking. I can read your mind. You like it, don't you? But I think we're not talking about the biggest thing in this episode. I'm waiting for you to bring it up, and that was the Ferengi in this episode. I'm waiting for you to bring that.
Was there a Ferengi? Oh.
Not only was there a Ferengi, but I mean, this guy was almost impersonating Nog.
Right. It was almost like he was doing a caricature of a Ferengi, and he looked a lot like Nog. And there was funny when he's like, yeah, the hand thing. He's even doing the hand thing.
Yes, yes.
Malissa, how did you feel when you saw him?
It was funny. I didn't get Nog right away. But that's because I've seen the Ferengi on TNG, so it kind of reminded me of them, and
I was going to say,
Ferengi on Voyager.
Mm-hmm. He was definitely more like the TNG Ferengi that were just very like,
right, until the end. And then we figure out that, he's a regular Joe with family and what have you.
Mm-hmm. And they kind of dispel that stereotype of like, I'm such a Ferengi, but when you talk to him regularly, he's like, oh, cheery old chap. He's like all dignified. And
right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
There was also one question on the subject of familiar aliens. There was one question that I'm sure has been asked by many Star Trek fans before Lower Decks happened. And I'm sure that question is, hang on a second. But what kind of Klingons are there going to be? Is it going to be real Klingons, or is it going to be Discovery lizard guy Klingons? This is not me talking. This is the general public. And to most people's delight, I think, it was revealed that the Klingon looked like the standard Klingon that we are used to. You guys catch that and breathe a sigh of relief?
Yeah. I didn't think of it any other way. I just thought it was a Klingon. So I didn't say, oh, this is that Klingon or versus that Klingon. I just said, oh, they got the Klingon in there, and he's acting like a Klingon would, which is, being a belligerent drunk, right? Oh, he stole one on Vulcan. Actually, he steals a lot of shuttles. So yeah, no, I wasn't like blown away that I just felt like they used the stereotypical Klingon character, and I wasn't really surprised by it. It was a good little storyline. I did like the other things that they added. For example, when they got back to their starship, there were a bunch of parking tickets on the windshield.
Yes.
Yeah, that was funny.
And I like that. It was just like, it's a small thing, but it's just like, you parked in a no parking zone.
Also, the line was a small line, but it was perfect. She just went, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Yeah. What, are they going to mail me the bill in space?
Yeah.
The other thing that was really funny for me, and it was Boimler's kind of breakdown self-pity moment when he was talking about, they're going to find me, they're going to find me dead, and the only thing they'll have is my staticky transmissions to try to decipher how I died. And he went on to this whole long monologue about him dying and him feeling sorry for himself. And I thought it was hilarious how he had the whole thing mapped out and how they would find him and how they'd be trying to piece together how he died. So I thought that was kind of a little funny segue.
Malissa, how did you feel about the Klingons or Boimler or parking tickets?
Parking tickets made me laugh. And the Klingon, I didn't think one way or the other. I saw the Klingon and I saw a Klingon. So it felt very natural and didn't take me out of the story at all. So I don't know if the new Klingons of Discovery would have taken me out of the story or not, but the Klingon that they showed definitely kept me in it. So, and maybe there's a little comfort in the old Klingons because that's what I'm used to. But yeah, I didn't think of it one way or the other.
Mhm.
Whether
it's definitely consistent with the time frame. Because look, they can, as far as canon is concerned, it does not disrupt canon to say, well, back in the Discovery days, Klingons looked like this. Yeah. And in the Next Generation Deep Space Nine days, it looked like this. And so they just made it look like that, kept it consistent.
And they kind of explained a little bit, I think, on Discovery that with Tyler, in how on the original series they started out looking human. So Deep Space Nine poked fun at that, and they're like, "Wait, that's a Klingon?"
Yeah.
So
that was one of the best episodes and best scenes ever.
So I mean, Discovery, I think, can be explained as, you know, part evolution and part what is that that guy Mengele, biological experimentation.
Who? What?
So that's why
she's talking about Joseph Mengele, the Nazi doctor who experimented.
So maybe they experimented on themselves, which is what helped them evolve the species even quicker than.
Yeah, well, Enterprise definitely touches on the eugenics and stuff like that, and all whatever the heck happened with them. But yeah, beyond that, that's all we've really got to work with. But there's obviously more stuff that did happen. You're right. Since then, they just keep mutating in different ways.
Exactly.
Also, there was a line that Mariner said that made me laugh. Going back to the Anabaj, she says, "I dated one once, but only to make my mom mad."
Oh, yeah.
That's a solid line, and it also makes you can kind of picture it too, because she's already shown that she's trying to make her mom mad. She's always kind of talking jive to her and being a little mouthy with her mama and her mama / captain.
Pushing the envelope, pushing her boundaries, testing them always.
Yeah, she's a real firecracker. I think she started out the episode by saying, "Hey, let's go up to the upper deck and start some fights with the senior personnel," or something like that. You know, she's like, "I really like those hot guys in the senior uniforms," something to that effect. And I was like, "Oh, okay." But
so I mentioned this when we weren't recording, but I have a prediction that Boimler and Mariner are going to end up hooking up in one way or another by the end of this season. Well, maybe by the second season, but definitely I feel like it's in the cards. And the way I think it's going to happen is that I think that Mariner at one point is just going to kiss him. You know, like whatever. She's pretty flippant on a lot of things. She's like, "Hey, what's the big deal?" You know, and you know, she's gonna make out with him, and Boimler's gonna be like, "Oh my God," he's gonna be short-circuited. He's either gonna be like, "Oh my God, now we have to get married," or he's gonna be like, "Oh, we have to report this to Starfleet," because you know, whatever it is, he's gonna freak out in some way, and she's gonna have the opposite reaction of like, "Who cares? What's the whatever? We just kissed. Who cares? You know, I kind of like you. I don't like you that much, dude. Just relax. You know, that's a prediction. I don't know, but I think something like that may occur. What do you guys think?
I could see that happening, and I could definitely see her taking charge of the situation, because that's the nature of their relationship. But you can see that she's got a soft spot for him, or otherwise she wouldn't have wrangled the Ferengi to make him feel better. So yeah, I could see that prediction, and I would be okay with that, because they have an interesting dynamic. They're a nice odd couple, but not so odd that it's like, oh, I don't buy them being together really. I wouldn't buy them being together.
Yeah, I don't think it would be so much outside the realm of possibility for them to hook up. Certainly looks like they're setting the stage that way. But I thought it was interesting how quickly Boimler jumped on the opportunity to throw her under the bus in front of the rest of the Starfleet when they got back to the bar.
Yeah. And he was even doing the hand things and everything. He thought it was a bullying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He threw her under the bus pretty quickly, and she
Pretty
took
hard.
it in stride, obviously knowing that was what was going to happen. And it looks like she's building his confidence. Like she's building his confidence. She's, kind of letting him know that he's good for Starfleet, because he is the typical Starfleet guy. The rules say this, and according to that, and
right.
shouldn't be doing this. So he's really a kind of a by-the-book Starfleet guy. And that's really what's happening in this show to me is the big dynamic that's at play is the people that are sticklers, conservative in the Starfleet ideology, and then the more liberal people that are carefree and not so much by the books, which is what we're seeing with Mariner's character. So I think that's going to be the biggest overarching thing in this show is the dynamic between the by the book people, rules say this, and screw the rules. We do it the way we want to do it.
Yeah.
Right, and these guys are.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Malissa.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and how they balance each other out, and how one extreme, and they're both on the extremes, and they're come to the middle to find a common working relationship, and what they learn from the freeness and then the by the bookness. So I think that's interesting too.
Yeah, now these characters are okay because it's an animated show, but we all know that if these characters were on the Enterprise or on Deep Space Nine, they would not make it past day one, because Boimler is a complete wreck and Mariner is obnoxious and insubordinate, and there's just no way that they would make it in Starfleet at all in any way past day one cadet. But it's animated, so we go, okay, whatever. That's how it's gonna. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna suspend disbelief and be more interested in just character development and world building, I think.
Yeah, I think that you're right in that they're more caricatures of what we've seen before, and it's okay because it is animated and it's not. You can suspend the reality even more than you could probably with a live action show.
We only have a few minutes left, but I'll tell you what I want to see more of, and I don't know if we're going to get it, but I want to see more of the characters interacting with different characters. I mean, basically we've had kind of 2 episodes of Boimler and Mariner together and Tendi and Rutherford together, and we get it. Okay, so that's kind of like going to be the A story, and that's going to be the B story. But that's going to be, I feel like that's going to get old if that's for 10 episodes. I feel like we got to change it up, have Mariner be with Shax and Tendi, and have Rutherford be with, Boimler and Dr. Ta'ana or whatever her name is, like kind of change it up, mix it up a little bit. We get that those are the 4 main characters and they're going to get the most, airtime, and we get which ones are the 2 main characters. But I still want to see them kind of mix it up a bit. I don't know. Do you guys think we're going to get that, or you think it's just always going to be 2 are A story, 2 are B story, and everybody else is kind of surrounding them?
I think it's hard to say right now. It's only the 2nd episode, so I don't know how they're going to spin it. I do agree that I hope that they interact with each other and it's not just the same, pairing all the time, with the same, getting out of the same situations all the time. I do hope that they mix it up and show how they get themselves out of different kinds of situations, but work together as a collective, not just these two and then these two. That makes sense.
Yeah, I have to agree with you guys, and I think Ryan, you said it right, that it will get old fast if they just continue to just group 2 and 2, and they're both off to the A and B stories, because at some point we're gonna be like, okay, are they gonna hook up? Are they not gonna hook up? Or whatever it is gonna be. But the other thing I want to see more of, I like to see the development of species. So one of the things that Deep Space Nine did, and Aaron Eisenberg particularly did well, was redefine a species. The Ferengi are now something different. So they're now no longer just these kinds of categories, but they've broadened and expanded what their horizons are, what we expect from them. And I think they can address that same kind of expansion on aliens, whichever one they choose, and show us a transition of something different, maybe whatever it is, but it be out of character for them. So maybe a Klingon that doesn't act like a Klingon, or a Bolian that's something different, and maybe having more, different life choices to face.
I love Bolians.
I know you love them Bolians. So I'd like them to address that and bring in more cast as centerpieces. The other thing I think will grow as a character is the buff guy who's
Commander Ransom.
Is he in charge? Is he security? He's in charge of the security.
The Bajoran guy, the guy in gold. Yeah, that's Lieutenant Shax. Yeah, he's chief of security.
And he's funny, just in general. So I think he's going to expand. I think they need to expand his role out a little bit more. Whoever seems to be the funnier characters, and I also wish that they kind of get into the girl behind you, whose name I can't remember, but the green girl behind you.
Tendi.
Yeah.
Bartendi.
Yeah, I like her, and I'd like to see more of her. I feel like we need to hear about her story more. I need her background, why she's there. I feel like she's not getting developed enough for me.
I agree. Well, she's theoretically an Orion as far as we can tell. And I got to say, I feel like she's the only one of the 4 that would in any way, shape, or form be considered for Starfleet had this not been, had this been live action. Because even Rutherford is basically clueless in his own way, because, he's like, oh, what does this do? What does that do? Oh, let me transfer over to this side and transfer over here. And what's the Janeway? I mean, basically they're making him look like a moron, right? So
like a moron, yeah.
Yeah. And so she's the only character so far that her negative, aspect is she's naive or eager, but that's okay. That's perfectly fine. So she's the only one of the 4 so far that hasn't displayed attributes that would pretty much eliminate her. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is Rutherford, I liked in the first episode the spazzing out of words where he would just randomly say stuff. Yeah. And I wish they had that. I wish they continued that. I mean, it can be like a form of Tourette or something, but they can continue that as a joke. And every once in a while, he tells the captain what he really thinks, or he tells somebody what he really thinks, or spazzes out. And I think they can continue that and capitalize on that immediately.
Well, then he could also use it on purpose, where he could be like, oh yeah, I'll totally do that.
Asshole.
Jerk. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And they'll be like, what'd you say? Oh, sorry. It's
his computer.
Sorry. Yeah. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Those jeans make you look fat, by the way. Oh, sorry. I don't know. Darn it.
Yeah, exactly. So, something like that, like Jim Carrey and Liar Liar or something.
Oh.
I feel like they can really exploit that, and they kind of drifted away from it in the second episode, where the first episode they played heavy on it. So, I know they're going to get their feelers out there, and we're still establishing stuff, but the growth, I think, is going to be on developing more characters other than the 4, and also giving us more backstory on people like Tendi.
Well, you know what her middle name is? Loin.
Okay.
Oh.
No, okay.
Well, it looks like that's all the time we have.
All right.
Boy, oh boy, we should have stopped 10 seconds ago.
There it is. We know who won't be writing for this show.
No, actually, that's not her. Her real middle name is Roni.
Oh, even worse.
That's better. What do you
Is
mean
this
worse?
thing on?
Pretty
Are we
stinky.
still on? Hello?
Tendi Roni, guys. Ladies at Tendi Roni? No?
No.
Okay.
Where's the
All
off button?
Where is it? Where are we?
Yeah. All right. That's enough, ladies and gentlemen. All right, back to your quarters, damn it. All right.
Wow.
All right. Or here's another quote from Picard. Not good enough, damn it. Not good enough. Anyway. So, that was fun. Stay tuned next week. We will review episode 3, and we'll have new names for Tendi. In the comments below, please let us know if you think her name should be Bar Tendi, Tendi Loin, or Tendi Roni. I think I'm going to love her for the rest of my life.
Oh, God.
She's my only love.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is not good. I'm not even going to throw in something. I was going to add to it, but I don't think I should encourage
not
this.
good.
I think you should.
All right, well, her middle name might be Commandments.
Okay. Oh, Malissa hates that. Melissa, look at, she hates it. It's not that she doesn't like it. It's that she hates it.
She
don't
literally
hate
hates it.
Just-
As if she's... What's that smell?
Yeah, that's what it was like. It's like she just smelled blue cheese.
and I enjoy blue cheese.
Well, or Tendi Commandments, guys.
Oh my God. What
Do you
is
have-
happening here?
Do you have one, Melissa?
No.
It's evolving.
Don't.
All right.
Oh.
So please, everybody, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. We will never make stupid jokes ever again. We like to just get them out of the way, in one episode. Now we're done for the rest of the year.
For the rest of this
Yeah,
show. season.
no puns, no joke for the rest of the show.
Tendi bike? No. Like tandem. But
I
no.
they meant like 10-speed bike.
10-speed bike.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
you fixed it.
Yeah. That's like a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10D. So anyway,
Oh, God.
see you around, guys. Special thanks to Malissa Longo for joining us and classing up the joint as she does for us.
Always.
And
Always.
as always, ladies and gentlemen, remember the 7th rule.